Hi Aries, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is actually going to be a 2021 general overview where we look at each of the zodiac houses in relation to your sign. And we'll actually roll some astrology dice to see where your areas of focus will be as far as that goes. And we'll also pull an oracle card when we're done with that. As far as the main deck that I'm using here, it's the Haindl Tarot. And also, thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that as always. And like I said, this was just something a little bit different I wanted to try out. So hopefully you guys like it, but let's get started. All right, so first we'll roll these dice and see what we get. Okay, so we have the moon. So that's going to be of significance for you guys this year. So pay attention to the moon cycles. We have Aquarius. Not too surprising that this comes up as a focus for you guys there, as far as where we have Jupiter and Saturn there. That's going to be a pretty significant transit going on. Obviously, we're going to be entering into Aquarius season soon. It's going to be a Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. So definitely focus on that. And also, for you guys, that's your 11th house. So that'll be your friendships, hopes and wishes, groups that you're associated with. So definitely keep an eye on that this year. And we have 4, so that's the 4th house. That's Cancerian energy. So your roots, your home, your family. For some of you, it could be motherhood. So definitely keep that in mind as well. All right, so we'll get those out of the way and we'll get started with the reading. All right, so representing your 1st house, we got 6 of Wands. And in this deck in particular, it actually has the word victory on it. Which is generally speaking what we tend to think of with the 6 of Wands energy anyway. This is actually Leo energy. So for this to be in your 1st house of personality, self-awareness, appearance, health, this is a pretty good indicator here that says that for you guys, you actually could be seen, at the very least, seen as successful, but you probably be enjoying some successes in 2021 as well. You could just be seeing a lot of recognition. Aries season and Leo season in particular could be significant for you guys, but definitely a good card to have for your 1st house without a doubt. All right. 2nd house of possessions, self-worth, finances. We have a few cards that came up. We have the Hangman, which is Pisces energy. Ace of Stones in the West, which is the Ace of Pentacles. And the Wheel of Fortune. So pretty good energy to see here. Now, with this showing up in your 12th house, this can just be saying that for some of you might actually have some opportunity for finances regarding spirituality. And the reason I say that is the Wheel of Fortune represents Jupiter energy. And Jupiter is going to briefly move into Pisces for part of 2021. It's going to go back into Aquarius, then wrap up the year back in the sign of Pisces. So if we factor that in together with the Wheel of Fortune, could just be saying that for some of you, spirituality could actually benefit you guys financially this year. It could also just be saying that, just looking at things from a different perspective, that could actually give you a fresh start regarding your finances as well, and you might see some positive forward movement there. So that's what I'm seeing there. In the 3rd house of communications or short journeys, we have Eon. So this is actually, get it to focus. Well, just take my word for it. It says Eon there. But this is actually the equivalent of the Judgment card in traditional tarot. And for me, the Judgment card definitely represents a rebirth energy, and that's what I'm seeing here too. And given that you guys have the North Node moving through your 3rd house of Gemini, which is communication, could just be saying that you guys are actually going to be, if you haven't already started it, going through a bit of a rebirth when it comes to your communication, maybe how you communicate with people. You might have gone through some lessons around that through your career recently, for example, when we had the Saturn transit through there in Capricorn, and now with it moving into your house of friendships along with Jupiter, you could just be reevaluating the way that you're communicating, maybe even through having some spiritual insights, just going through some changes with communication in general. But again, with the North Node there, that also could bring you some benefits in that area of life. All right. In the 4th house, which is your home, roots, could be mother, we have failure, which is 8 of Cups. Son of Stones in the West, which is the equivalent of the Page of Pentacles, and Father of Stones in the West, which is the equivalent of the King of Pentacles. So it could just be saying that you guys might have some setback in that area of life with the Eight of Cups, but usually the Eight of Cups does represent walking away from something, looking for something more fulfilling. So really what it could be for some of you is maybe some limiting beliefs that you might have had from your early upbringing. You might be letting those go now and actually experiencing a lot of growth through that process, because the reason why I say growth is we see the Page of Pentacles here and then followed up with the King of Pentacles. So it looks like there would be some growth in the process for you guys. So I don't necessarily, even though it sounds a little bit more dramatic in this deck in particular when it says failure on it, I don't necessarily see it as a huge setback at all. I see it more of you guys just reevaluating the way you've been looking at things and moving forward and actually experiencing a lot of growth in that process and success as well. All right, representing your fifth house, which could be romance, creativity, children, we have the Sun, and we have Five of Wands, which is conflict in this deck. So, interestingly enough, this is Leo energy, and fifth house is actually the house that Leo rules, and the Sun also rules Leo. So, interesting to see both these cards come up here in the fifth house. But I could see these energies playing out a couple different ways, because the Sun and the Five of Wands are very different energies, even though they kind of both belong to that fifth house energy we were just talking about. With the Sun being on top, I will say that that's definitely obviously the more powerful card in general, but this could just be saying, I could see it going a couple of different ways. For some of you, this could just be saying that you might be having success, like we were saying with that Six of Wands we see in the position of your first house. But actually, underneath it all, you might still be a little bit conflicted around it, maybe not feeling as comfortable as the image that you're showing people on the outside. That's one way it could be playing out. If it's regarding a relationship, for example, maybe on the surface, you guys are making it seem like everything is just great between the two of you, but behind closed doors, there could be some conflict. That's another way it could be playing out. Now, another way it could be playing out as well could just be telling you to be wary of being a bit too playful around that area of life, because that could lead to some conflict. For example, if you're not taking your romantic life as seriously as you should, or your creative projects as seriously as you should. But also on the flip side, it could just be saying, if there is conflict, the key to get out of that might be to be a bit playful. So you're going to have to really feel it out for yourselves, as far as if you're already in this energy, the key to getting out of it could be to embrace that Sun energy, that more light, playful, childish energy in that regard. And I don't mean childish in a negative way in this context. But at the same time, if you're already in this energy, just be mindful of taking it too over the top, which could lead to conflict. So you're really just going to have to feel that out. And obviously, like I said, the Sun being the more powerful card in the situation, I don't necessarily see this as a huge deal either. And also, generally speaking, Five of Wands isn't a huge deal breaker for the most part anyway. All right. In the sixth house, we have cards I can't pick up. There we go. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, and we have Mother of Stones in the West, which is actually the equivalent of the Queen of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. So this could just be saying that you're going to be having a lot of forward progress in your career. And again, that could be what you're being celebrated for. Now, like we already discussed, you guys had Saturn moving through your house of career and social status for quite a while. And generally speaking, if you successfully navigate through that transit, you tend to get the benefits from it after the fact. So it would make sense if you guys were seeing some career success this year. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Some forward movement for you guys. For some of you, like I said, you might even be changing careers, as far as maybe looking for something that's more in tune with you on a spiritual level and possibly benefiting from that financially. But I'm definitely seeing that forward movement and that stability and growth with the Queen of Stones energy behind it. This could also be around health for some of you as well. So maybe you guys are really getting more active this year with the Chariot, getting into more physical routines to keep yourselves in better shape. Of course, a lot of people might feel like they got out of that routine with all the things going on in 2020 with all the restrictions on travel and whatnot. So maybe you guys are just going to be able to get out, be more active this year in general. All right, representing the 7th house, we have Mother of Wands in the East, which is actually the Queen of Wands, which is Aries energy. And we have Ace of Cups in the North, which is just the Ace of Cups. So these two cards coming up together, for one, to see your energy showing up in your opposite sign of relationships, could just be saying that you guys might be the focus, and really you could just be going after what you want, is primarily what I see, especially with the Ace of Cups. So I feel like this is you guys taking control, going after what you want in your relationships, which most people might perceive Aries energy to be that way in general anyway. But for example, especially with all the heavy energy you guys had going on in your 10th house, you might have just had a lot more focus on your career and maybe didn't have as much energy for your relationships. That's just a generic way that the energy could be playing out. Now it's saying, okay, you're getting that success, that forward movement in your career. Now you're actually able to put more energy toward your romantic relationships. And obviously, it looks like it could be a highly sexual connection as well. So, congratulations to you on that. 8th house, which is basically could represent that death, rebirth energy, could represent intimacy in general, investments. We have strength. So this is actually Leo energy. And I was mentioning earlier that Aries and Leo season in particular for you guys could be your high points this year. And seeing this coming up in your 8th house could just be saying that maybe you see some growth and success around your investments, if you have any investments that you've been making. Also, keep in mind in some decks this card is actually referred to as the lust card rather than strength. So for this to show up in your 8th house, along with what we see there, the Mother of Wands in East, looks like there's a lot of sexual energy at play for you guys this year. Also, the potential for pregnancy as a result of that as well. So keep in mind if that's something that you want, more power to you. That'd be great. But if it's not, keep that in mind as well. But yeah, this is definitely a really positive energy to see here. And again, I could see that also tying into that sun energy there that we see where you're taking a bit more of a light and playful approach to things, but obviously having a lot of fun in the process as far as the sexuality goes. So hopefully that resonates with you. All right, moving on to your 9th house, we have 7 of Stones, which in this deck in particular, they have the word failure on it. So I will say, obviously not the most positive card in that regard, right? Usually the way that I see 7 of Pentacles energy or 7 of Stones in this deck energy is more of a comparison thing where you've gotten to a certain point, maybe not at the pace that you're hoping to get there, right? So you might feel like the movement's been a bit slower than you would like. So to have that show up here, it could just be saying that you might be looking in your environment and seeing where others are and feeling like maybe you're not as far ahead as you'd like to be, which is a bit of a common thing. But with this being in the 9th house, I don't necessarily see it as truly having roots as playing out tangibly in your life. It could just be more of the way you're thinking of the situation, especially given that it is 9th house, which is your philosophy. So it could just be that you're really looking at yourself, not thinking that you're as far ahead as you'd like to be. And again, like I said, could just be the residual effects of the 10th house transit you guys had going on. And now we do see that there's a lot of potential for movement in 2021 for you guys. So even if you're feeling this way, I don't think this is going to last too long for you. We also have the South Node there as well. So that could also be part of the shift in perspective for you guys, where you're learning to look at your situation and not see it in as bleak of a circumstance as you may have in the past. All right, in your 10th house of career and social status, we have Death, which is the major arcana card for Scorpio. We see the Scorpio symbol there. So again, for a lot of you, I feel like this is pointing to transformation in your career. For some of you, an outright change of careers, like I said, possibly around moving towards something more spiritual. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. And again, could just be pointing to the residual effects of the heavy 10th house transit you guys have. And interestingly enough, you do still have Pluto in your 10th house of career, and Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, so could be a tie-in with that. But yeah, I don't necessarily see this as a negative thing. I definitely do see some shifts for you as far as career goes, like we already pointed out earlier. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Moving on to the 11th house. All right, let me get this card up. There we go. We have Success, which is the 6 of Stones or 6 of Pentacles. in this deck, and we have the Tower. So interesting to see these energies, right? And again, it seems like a pretty big contrast. 11th house representing friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. To see this card come up here and then have the Tower underneath it, could just be saying a couple of things that, yes, you could strive for balance with others, right? But don't go too over the top with it. And another thing that this makes me think of as well is the fact that you actually, like I was saying, you have Saturn that moved into your 11th house. So obviously that could cause a Tower moment as far as anything that, might have been past its expiration date anyway, might be taken from your lives in that regard. So, for example, might stop hanging out with a certain group of people. So, for example, if you are going through something as far as spiritual growth, maybe you find that you don't resonate with a certain group that you used to spend time with in the past. Could be something as simple as that. But with the Six of Stones in front of that, obviously the Tower, again, like we were talking about with the 5th house, the major arcana is going to be the more powerful energy there. But I would say anything that's meant to stay, you're going to be rest assured that it will actually stay stable. You'll continue that success. But anything that might be past its expiration date, you might actually see removed from your life. So I will say I don't necessarily see it as a huge negative thing, but obviously Tower moments aren't easy, so we're not going to downplay it either. All right, and moving on to your 12th house, we have 10 of Swords, which is Gemini energy, and here it's called Ruin. So, 10 of Swords tends to be pretty dramatic in most decks anyway, so the fact that they call it Ruin in this deck isn't a huge departure from other decks. But here, especially given that it is in your 12th house, and I was talking about the Hangman and some shifts in perspective that you guys might undergo, changing your philosophy around certain things, I feel like this is saying more on the mental level. This could just be something that you guys are letting go, maybe some long-held beliefs that you might have had from your early upbringing that you might be leaving behind now and actually moving forward. Now, given that this is in the 12th house, just keep an eye on your mental health too. I will say, if we want to look at the 10 of Swords in a more negative sense, right, since it is called Ruin. So if you feel yourselves struggling with mental health in any way, definitely try to seek out some help for that. That could definitely be a positive thing for you guys in that regard. If you do so, we definitely see supportive energies around that, if that is the way it plays out for you guys. But yeah, I would say of all the positions for this card to end up in, the 12th house is probably one of the better ones in that regard, because especially given some of these other cards that I'm seeing here, it looks like spirituality, you guys are definitely going through a shift. So I really feel, like I said, for the majority of you, this is representing more of leaving the old behind and moving on to the new. And like I said, it could just have to do with the fact that Jupiter will be jumping into your 12th house for a bit in the summer and then going back at the very end of the year. So that could represent those shifts taking place for you. All right, so that covers that. And lastly, we'll pull an Oracle card for you guys. So we're going to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck before I started recording. And I'm just going to be looking for one jumper here. And if I shuffle for a while and nothing comes up, I'll just put the deck down and we'll pull a random card and we'll wrap up. Oh, got two actually. Okay, so let's see what we got. All right, we have Poised, and we have Soulmates. So, all right, we'll read them both. We'll start with Poised. Okay, it says being ready, bringing something to light, being at your best, confidence. The Oracle's message. You can be assured that you are ready for anything right now. You know what you need to, your skills are sharp, you've come to this place armed with wisdom and knowledge, and you sense a new phase of your life about to begin. People respond to your confidence and trust you. This is an auspicious time to begin new things. So definitely a pretty supportive energy for what we were seeing in the reading in general, so hope that resonated with you. The relationship message says when you're confident and happy in your own skin, you are ready for deeper, more intimate relationships. You have nothing to prove right now. You are completely yourself and can handle anything. Love, friendships, and harmonious new connections are all present now or are coming in. You're ready to give and receive from the heart. This is a beautiful place to be. So, pretty positive message there. I mean, like we said, we do have the sun in your fifth house, your own energy showing up in the seventh house with the Ace of Cups. So it definitely looks like it will be a pretty positive year for the majority of you regarding love. Like I said, keep in mind we do have the Five of Wands beneath that, so watch out for petty conflicts that might come to play. But again, the overall energy definitely seems to be supportive. So that'll probably be a blip on the radar, but again, definitely something to watch out for anyway. Prosperity message says you have every reason to feel confident. Everything you need to make your success concrete is now at your disposal. You can take action when you are ready to step into your power, into your light, and into your service to the world. The direction you're moving in is your destiny. Your soul is smiling with joy as you align with this truth. So definitely a pretty positive message there. Like we said regarding your second house, which could point to finances, we've seen some positive movement there. 10th house, like I said, definitely looks like you guys are going to be moving towards something new, but hopefully that resonates with you as well. And next, we'll take a look at the Soulmates card, see what it has to say. Okay, it says harmonious partnerships, love, friendship, companionship, a relationship fostering personal growth. The Oracle's message: you are meant to evolve and transform with the companionship of others. Certain people enter into your life in order to take you to the next level of healing, consciousness, and authenticity. It is always a reciprocal experience, although the results for each of you will vary. You know these people by the strong pull drawing you toward them, and sometimes by a strong aversion to them initially, too. Soulmates can be friends for life or remain in your life for only a short time. No matter what, you will be changed in ways you can't possibly fathom now. Pay attention to these people today. They are your greatest gifts. So hopefully that resonates with you guys as well, and that makes me think of what we were saying as far as you have those 11th house transits that are going on. We also saw the Aquarius energy pop up for you guys in the dice, so could be some significance to that. As far as the relationship message, it says, consider love in the deepest sense. Love so powerful that you will never be the same, regardless of how long your relationship lasts. Consider friendships and romantic bonds so compelling that they overwhelm you with gratitude, or break you open so you will finally claim who you were meant to be. Even a companion animal reminds you that it is you who is being rescued and healed. Pay attention, for you are in the presence of a soulmate, come to guide you home to the real you. So again, like we said, your 7th house and 5th house looks pretty good. Obviously, your 1st house also looks pretty positive with the 6 of Wands, so it looks like it could be a pretty positive year for you guys in general in that regard. But hopefully that resonates. And the prosperity message says strategic alliances are most important right now as you begin to attract the perfect people to support your dreams. This is a journey you will share with others. Mentors, business partners, helpers, employees, creative partners, friends, and strangers open doors for you and step through the portal to join you in the harmonic dance of collaboration, commitment, and co-creation. This is what you've been waiting for. So, definitely a pretty positive message there. And again, like I said, I could see that pointing to just having some of the pressure alleviated from your 10th house for one, and also having the Jupiter energy moving through your 11th house, where, like I said, you guys might be associating with new groups this year. But overall, hopefully that resonated with you guys, and I'll see you guys in a few weeks with the February readings. All right, bye.